Welcome back. It's Oatmilk again. Today I wanted to go over a couple more topics that I didn't get to in the first video. I would say that these topics are a little bit harder to do, but let's get right into it. So first off, we have expanding the air wing. This topic is a little bit weird because it's UI stuff. I'm honestly not the best at UI things in general. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I had a other modder who takes care of the UI overhaul for the dark theme mod help me with it. So I just want to share how we got to this solution. So first off, let's open the files. The three files you'll need is UI specific off map view, UI specific off map airplane view, and UI specific skirmish production menu view. These are pretty easy to get. You just go right into WARNO, your mod, or for me it's WARNO plus, game data, user interface, use, and in-game. And then all of these files are found in here. So first off, you want to decide how many elements you want to expand the air wing into. How this basically works is you're increasing the amount of columns and the amount of rows, and doing that will be able to fit more airplane cards within the air wing tab that's already in the game. Now, unfortunately, I don't really know how to expand the air wing itself. You'd have to sort of just make that thing bigger. As I said, user interface modding is really not my thing, but I found the easiest way to do it is just to sort of expand the amount of cards that can fit inside of the already existing air wing panel. And just for an example, this is what it ends up looking like. Just like this. There you go. So what you want to do is first off, let's just start with the easy thing and change the amount of max planes you can have. Now I found 16 to be a size that easily fits and it looks good. It's not like too congested. So expanding the air wing from 9 to 16 I thought was the best route because that's going to be able to spawn in or give you the option to spawn in the majority of your aircraft that you can get at least with my mod since I gave you a lot more availability. So first off, just change this integer right here to whatever you want. After that, as I said, 16 by the way, is what I found to be the best. So honestly, just copy mine. Probably the easiest way to do this. And after that, you want to go into UI specific off map airplane view. And this part's a little bit of a pain in the butt, but basically what I did here is I scaled down the original numbers in here by a fourth. So I think I did 75% of what their original size was. So whatever number you have in here, multiply it by 0.75. Whatever number you have in here, multiply it by 0.75, and that will scale it down. You have to scale both of these values down by the same amount, or else you're going to get sort of the unit card themselves inside the airplane view are going to either compress or expand longitudinally or horizontally. So make sure you do that correctly. And scale it by the same amount if you want to keep the original sort of rectangle that the unit cards are. You can compress however much you want, but it's going to be hard to read and see what it is if you do that. So I thought 0.75 of the original numbers in here was the best. These are after 0.75 was applied to them, so you can just copy down my numbers if you want to just get what I did in my mod. Okay, and then after that, this is sort of the annoying part, but you want to go in here, and what you get originally is something that looks a little bit like this. And then, I'm sorry. What you get originally is, well, you really can't make it perfectly. I can't recreate it for you, but it sort of looks like this. They're all in one block, and you don't want that. You want to sort of expand it into each column. So first off, for me, for 16, multiply these two numbers if they equal 16. This is the amount of rows. This is the amount of columns. So 4 rows, 4 columns. 4 times 4 is 16, so you get 16 aircraft total. But what you want to do is just make sure that these elements are squared up correctly. You can make it whatever you want, but to fit in the existing aircraft panel, you kind of have to make it like this. I would do either 3 by 3, which is what you have now, 4 by 4, 5 by 5, 6 by 6. That works best because the unit cards are at like a fixed rectangle unless you decrease the actual rectangle itself, which I showed you how to do with this. But I would keep the original scaling that they're at, honestly. So I have lined a 4 by 4, and then for each row and column after that, what you want to do is just break them up into these columns. So it goes 0, 1, 2, 3. Obviously, there's my 4 rows, or 4 columns rather. And what you're doing, you just sort of increase the interval just like this. It goes 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. And you're gonna have to experiment with this on your own if you want to change and not do 4 by 4. So you'll have to figure that out yourself, but make sure you keep the formatting. This space right here doesn't have a comma. Keep that in mind. But 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, and then just next column or row 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. Very, very simple, but just make sure you break them up into the panel. So it goes by basically rows or columns. Doesn't really matter since it's 4 by 4, but make sure it does that and follows this sort of number integer increasing, like routine basically. So make sure you do that, and then especially make sure that you break them up. I don't know why, and Ajor helped me with this, but you have to enter in a new sort of break in between there for it to work correctly. I don't know why that is, but it's just how it is. As I said, UI modding can be a little bit funny sometimes. Okay, moving on. Let's go on to the next topic, which is adding unused units back. As you know, the Raven was deleted from the divisions in the last update, but I realized it's in a tutorial. So the unit still exists. So I think they took it out because the Raven IRL could never carry an actual seed armament. Now, to be honest with you, I don't really care. I just like the Spark Vark and I like it being in the game. So I put it back. But another cool way you could do it, if you want to be realistic with it, is you could just make it have like a really, really large seed vision, which I explained how to do in the last update, or not last update, the last video. And you could make that vision really, really large, and therefore expand on how you would actually be able to see units without actually being able to seed them. So you could just sort of see them and then use your artillery or something to kill them. So that's one option if you want to make it realistic, but that's besides the point. To do that, you're going to need 4 files: packs.ndf, divisionrules.ndf, divisions.ndf, and then dexserializer.ndf. Now, I don't think there's any other hidden units or just not unused units in the game besides the Spark Vark, so I guess this kind of really applies to one. So honestly, just copy exactly what I have if you want to bring the Raven back in the game. But I'm sure, I know like the T64 used to follow the same logic. It was still in the game, but it just wasn't in a division. So this is how to use it in a division. So first off, I would start in dexserializer in packs.ndf, and then division rules and divisions just sort of follows the same technique you would do to mix units around or whatever you want to do in those 2 files. I talked about them in the last video. But go into dexserializer, and I already have Raven right here, but this is how it already is. The Raven's still in this file, so if you search up Raven in dexserializer, it'll be right here. So what you want to do is you're going to want to take this Raven and then keep it here, but copy it up over here. So what you want to do is just paste it in right here. But as you can see, I kind of changed it a little bit. And this is where you have to bridge the gap of the phrasing. So, you just get regular unit, H1F, Cobra, but now you have to actually assign it a division. So what you do is just use, and I added it back to 8th Infantry. It doesn't really matter which one you do, as long as you keep the formatting for everything correct. But I used 8th Infantry, again, exactly how it was. So you do this sort of method. You do descriptor, dec, not unit, pack, TOE, US, 8th Infantry, multi, EF-111 Raven. There you go. And this number cannot use this number here that it already has for the Raven. If I can find the damn Raven. That's right here. You have to use a number, I would say, greater than 3,000. So the reason for that being is that this is basically the serial number each unit has. Well, it's not really the serial number, but as Eugen adds in more units, these numbers, will increase. So just give them a big gap, so that they don't take your number, and that'll really mess things up if they add a unit that has over 8,000. But as you can see, 2,000, they're not anywhere close to 8,000. So just put 8,000 honestly for your mod. Anyway, so that's there now, and with the correct 8th Infantry formatting. So another way to do that is just like look up the A10 for the 8th Infantry, or 3rd Armored, or whatever you want to do. And then just use the same formatting. It's the same formatting for all the units. just put it in just like that. All right. Now once you have that in there, you're good to go to move on to packs.ndf. And in packs.ndf, I'm just gonna look up my Raven again. It's right at the bottom. I added it in. So you have to, this is sort of like an actual coding part. Not coding, that's a cringe word, but you know what I mean. But you can basically just create, and I used the A10 the first time. So just create a new column, pretend that this is not here, and just add it down here in descriptor pack underscore deck packs TOE, exactly how you had it here at the top. So again, this line right here is going to be exactly how you had it in deck serializer right here. Okay. Minus the ending, of course, minus the comma 8000. As you can see, don't include this part. But here you have it here, and then you just follow the same formatting as all the other entries are, is T deck pack descriptor. And then you just put it in here. This will stay the same. I would use like the A10 or something as the example. And then put it all in here. CFG name, use this name, which is how it appears in the unit descriptor. See? So use that. And then input that all into, and just sort of fill in the blanks from maybe like a default template from, say, the A10. Put that down here. Again, this is right here. This is right here. I think you can see you just put in this part and then add the US part. So this piece right here is the same piece as this right here. And then this piece right here is the same how it is in unit descriptor, as I just showed you. So that piece. And then you just put them all together and plug them in down here. And then from that, there you go. And then this is the annoying part, but for the GUID, do not use the GUID that it already has in unit descriptor that you would see right here. Do not use that. That took me a while to figure out, and another modder helped me with that. So you need to make your own GUID. So just look up this, boom, put that in there for your mod or whatever you want. But just make sure you make up your own GUID for the packs.ndf. And from there, this is the easy part. Just make a new column. Again, plug in the Raven right down here, just as you wrote it in deck serializer. So just as you wrote it down here, except the 8000 obviously, because this is the amount of cards you have. But just plug that down in here. Just follow the same formatting as all the other stuff. Put it right down here, and then boom. Your Raven is now back in a division. And then to add it to the division rules so that you can assign how many per card in the veterancy, you just, again, use the unit descriptor, which, again, follow how it's written here so that it cites it correctly. Unit descriptor, and then throw that right into division rules, and then make up your own number of unit and pack and all this stuff. Again, use like the A10 or something as, your template for this piece of it. So just copy, paste down, change the A10 stats to the Raven stats so that it appears in game. And it's there. So that is the long explanation of how you take a, an unused unit and add it back, as long as it's still in the game files. Okay, and then last up is the probably the most people are gonna do is add the nuke in the game. I happened to find out. I think I was the first one to find it. I don't know, but I posted it to the Yugen Discord a while ago. But I found a model file for a nuke in the game, which I thought was really fun. So in T ammunition, which do I have open? No, I do not. Let me open it. And I just thought I should include this because I think some people are going to find this fun if they want to add it to their mod. But if you just look up nuke, I mean, it's right there on my screen, but just showing you that it's in here in T ammunition, or not T ammunition, that's from Wargame. Just in ammunition.ndf, it's right here. So it's just an artillery shell, but it's a nuke. And the most important part of it is that you want this right here, this FX weapon type. And the reason I'm showing you this, I know somebody made a nuke mod, but it's kind of terrible because I think he redid one of the weapons. He didn't realize that there was a nuke in it yet. So hopefully he sees this so he can update his mod to make it better and not replace a weapon entirely. But use this as a weapon for, say, the Malka or you know, any heavy howitzer you want to give the nuke for. Put it in here, and then adjust the stats so that it's like nuke-like. I don't think that they're. I think they gave it like 100 HE, but it has like 100 meters of of effect. So make sure you change that to I've changed it to 4,000. And then make it nuke-like. You can define whatever nuke-like is in your mind right here. Um, and then what you can do is just take this nuke file, or not nuke file, but if you want to assign it to a unit, you have to go to weapon descriptor. So say the Malka. It's right here, and here's what I did. I would honestly, there's a lot of units that have like secondary guns, such as the Nona. So what you can do is just copy the second turret from the Nona for its AP round. Just copy this whole thing, copy that, and then send it down into the Malka's slot, all the way below its smoke. So put it down below its smoke, and the T-mounted weapon descriptor again, and then open this file, put in the Nona's stats, and then just change the ammo. All you have to do, change the ammo to the nuke. That's all you have to do. And honestly, I'm going to fix something real quick because I noticed I can fix it, rather. But make sure you change the two things, which is the ammo, the nuke, and then the fire effect. So make sure you put in its the actual Malka's fire effect as well as the nuke ammo in the ammunition and the effect tag. So boom, there you go. And that's it. And then obviously it will produce the big nuke explosion. Looks cool, all that stuff. Levels the entire city. Great, we're happy. Yay. So there you go. That's how you do that, and that's pretty much all for this video. There was a request to make a video on how to update a mod. Now, I'm going to be blatantly honest with you. You can always changes, at least my mod is pretty complex. I have a lot changed, as you can see by here. Here's all the changes I make. Okay, there we go. All this. So typically Yugen always changes quite a bit in my mod. So the updater typically doesn't work for me because a lot of times Yugen, since the game is in early development, a good thing that they're making the game better, of course, and the code that goes behind it, and the registries and all that stuff, is they sometimes would make some big format changes in and a file, and then that can just sort of like brick a lot for you. So you might have to recreate your mod entirely. So I only use the mod updater for like short little patches that I know they're not going to change a whole lot. But for big milestone updates, I'd be hard pressed to find a time where that's happened and I haven't had to replace like everything in my mod and just start over from scratch. So it doesn't work perfectly, which is to be expected. Honestly, WARNO modding is incredibly easy. So if you have to make a mod, take a couple hours out of your schedule and just make the mod over again to save yourself some headaches of trying to patch over an entire milestone update if you change a lot in your mod. If you just change a couple things, you can probably just update it just fine. But I will do a tutorial on that next, on how to do that. So I hope you liked my much smaller tutorial on a couple more WARNO topics. And as I do more stuff and remember to make videos, I'll add in more topics. So this is what we covered today. Thanks for watching.